Hello and welcome to AAU TV. This show is Diaspora Connect. On this show, we speak to African academics who are in the diaspora but are contributing to development of education, development of economic activities in their home country. And on today's show, we'll be speaking to Professor Robert Balfour. And then on today's show, we are looking at curriculum co-development in integrating Moocs in engineering education. Professor Robert Balfour is a reappearing guest. On the last show, we spoke to Prof on TVET, and today he'll be helping us navigate this field. Prof, if you did not join us earlier, Prof is a clinical professor who specializes in civil and geomatics engineering. Prof currently it's with the University of Georgia College in the United States of America. Welcome to the show once again, Prof.
Thank you.
All right. So, Prof, today we are looking at curriculum co-development for integrating Moocs in engineering education, a project that you are currently embarking on in Ghana here and beyond, because it's Moocs. And viewers out there, in case you are wondering what is Moocs, Moocs is massive open online courses, a new movement that has become popular in Africa, in part thanks to COVID-19, and then people like Professor Robert Balfour who have made it a project to improve on massive online open courses in Africa. So, Prof, if you look at engineering as a program pursued at the university, we normally know that engineering is a course that is hands-on, and we are talking about Moocs, and Moocs is something that we know we leverage on the web to do. So how do we integrate Moocs and engineering, which traditionally we perceive to be a hands-on course?
Well, if you take a typical engineering program across the globe, you find out that there are about maybe 45 to 50 different courses, especially here in my University of Georgia. Our civil engineering program requires a student to take 130 credit hours, which pretty much translates to about 40 or so courses. Now, not all these courses are engineering courses. You're going to have a big dose of mathematics, some science courses like Physics 1, Physics 2. At times, they may have to take a course in chemistry. And of course, the centerpiece of most engineering programs is mathematics. So you can take calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3. And then you move on to the actual engineering programs. And not all the actual engineering programs have the requirement for a lab, even though you may have some lab component, like course like fluid mechanics, thermodynamics, and stuff like that. And so even if you don't have hands-on practical experience in that program, there are still so many courses that you can teach the student via Moocs. And therefore, Moocs technically will not do away with the fact that you require hands-on. In addition to that, for courses that require hands-on, there is always a room for you to have hands-on. You can do hands-on either online, or you can do hands-on by going to nearby facilities. In Ghana, for instance, the student can do hands-on on a separate day with their equipment. So they can take 70% of the course online, and then 30% of the course with an instructor outside or in the lab.
Okay, so Prof, I think we will go much into details about the challenges that probably we anticipate in integrating Moocs in online engineering education. But then let's start with the whole project. That is what you are currently championing at Accra Technical University. That is curriculum co-development for integrating Moocs in engineering education. Prof, tell us about this project, the rationale for this project, and how far you've come with this project.
Okay, so I used to be the vice president of Ghana Telecom University College, back in the late 2008 to 2015, something like that. And while I was there, I remember meeting all the rectors of the polytechnics. They were polytechnics then, now they are technical university, at least 8 of them, and in Sunyane. And I remember at the time we had a project with MIT and then the University of Nigeria and GTUC. And the whole plan was to create a system to support engineering education in West Africa. I met this group. We discussed the possibility of creating a unified system so that we can push courses across from one university, one polytechnic to another. Most of them did understand, except a few of them that really didn't care, and they didn't see the need for an online education at the time. But this is the deal. You know, if you look at the technical universities today, if you take Accra Technical University, Kumasi, Kofrodua, you know, Takrady, Hope, Bogatanga. I mean, Bogatanga, I believe, is a polytechnic now. What you see is they all take courses from, I think it's NAPTEX. They are the one who certify their programs. And so they have very, very, very common courses. And the question that I'll put to all of them is, suppose you don't have a very strong lecturer in course A in Accra Technical University, but the strongest lecturer across the entire polytechnic is in, say, Bogatanga. Why can't we use that person to teach that course instead of struggling and the student failing in the other schools? That is the whole idea. And so the program I'm currently working, well, we actually finished the program just last month, but, you know, because of Professor Mavis' interest, he and I are still working on part of the project. What we want to do is simple. I identify one strong area in engineering that I think we are lacking in Ghana, and that is pretty much the hands-on part you're talking about. In every engineering program, especially here in the United States, before you finish your final year, you do something we call capstone project. And capstone is an end of course final project. You know, most programs do that, whether you're in business or in marketing or whatever, they still do project. In Ghana, they do project. The only problem that I see in Ghana is the projects are not tailored to engineering really problems. You know, for instance, you know, I saw a student in civil engineering doing a project on noise studies and asking people whether they're happy with noise or not, which I find it to be very ridiculous for engineering students. So you want the student to go out with a very strong engineering background before they graduate. And so I came up with a plan that let's develop a curriculum to support this. How do you design a course that you can call a final year project for engineering students? So that for this semester, that is what we focus on.
Okay. So, Prof, would you say that this particular course is now, as at now, is targeted to a specific university, say Accra Technical University, or by its name, it is open to all technical universities or engineering students in the country?
It is targeted to all engineering programs everywhere.
Okay.
But, you know, we trying to pilot this at ATU, and hopefully we'll be able to get the other polytechnics, other technical universities to take it, and of course the other engineering program to take it across the continent. Because, I mean, we know the main reason why our engineering students are not doing well is when they come out, you know, they can't really do the hands-on, which we expect them to do to some extent. And there's a whole discussion about engineers and hands-on, which I don't want to go there today, because engineers generally are not, the program in Ghana, for instance, are not really tailored to get a student to be fully hands-on, because they are doing engineering, not they are not technicians. So it's a whole different story, but at least they need to have some level of hands-on so they can really practice what they design very well when they go to the field.
Okay, so Prof, I think when it comes to designing of curriculum, and then let's say we are employing a new tool that we are normally not used to, that is the Moocs. Let's talk about accreditation. Where have you got into in terms of accreditation of the courses that will be run on the Moocs? If it's not been accredited, what are the steps being taken towards accreditation?
No, these are not courses that require accreditation.
Okay.
For the courses, for instance, for the Accra Technical University right now, they have a course in, they do senior design project, they do end of course project, they have it. The only thing we're looking at is how do you strengthen that course? How do you actually get the supervisors, the lecturers and then also bring in folks from outside to bring in projects that will be meaningful to the students. So the design itself is not the designing and creating a whole brand new curriculum, but just trying to reinforce the content of it. And the content reinforcement is within the university itself.
Okay. So with this particular Moocs, is it a standalone course, or it is something that after going through you get a whole certificate to say that, okay, so I took an engineering course online and I have a certificate to it, or it is tied into some of the requirements as an engineering student at Accra Technical University?
Okay, this is what we are doing. What we are doing is we right now, every single course at the Accra Technical University has a lecturer. So somebody teaches that course. So, you know, this is a very baby step that we are taking. What we are doing right now is to create a para program, you know, that we can grab information from wherever we can get it from to support the students taking these classes. And so our the current state of our MOOC is to actually put materials in there so that the student, for instance, if a student is taking calculus 1 and the student is struggling, I want the student to be able to go online. You know, if they're doing that today, except that I want to make it very focused, and I want to be able to go out there and identify courses that I think are good, identify lecturers, professors who I think are good, can, you know, do maybe 5-minute, 10-minute explanation of some key concept for the student. That is what we are doing right now. Okay. We are not putting together a full base course that the student can take a credit. Okay. I will come later on if the universities choose to do so.
Okay, so if I understand, in the university system, you know, we have when the lecturer comes to teach, and afterwards, maybe we have a system where a teaching assistant may take the students through what the lecturer did, more in practical sense. So if we understand, the Moocs will serve the same purpose as probably going over everything that the students have done, or probably beyond. Is that the case?
Absolutely. Remember, you know, I take a course on Moocs all the time. You can have, for instance, I have a course on Udemy, which is one of the largest Moocs on the planet now. And I think it's about 7-hour MOOC where students can go there and learn how to write their dissertation or thesis. So I'm on video, you see I talk and I explain everything. So technically speaking, you have a new lecturer of the same course that you took from your school. Now, the problem you have in Africa is that we don't have a lot of experienced lecturers there. That is a fact. And so the whole idea is if we can get our own experienced lecturers like myself, like other professors here in the US, Canada, Germany, wherever they are, and let them teach to support our colleagues in Africa, why not? That is the whole idea of creating the MOOC.
Okay. All right. So that is really necessary, because if we are looking at it, we have enough resources out there in the diaspora. So finding a way to pull all of them together is the way to go. But then we are looking at engineering right now. So yes, let's talk about infrastructure. Is the infrastructure already set up for these MOOCs that we are talking about? And how is it now? What is the state of the infrastructure?
Okay, I think that question, the best person who answer will be Professor, maybe when you guys talk to him. But the first, you know, this is we've done this two different occasions. The first time I came to Ghana was in 2020. And in 2020, we spent most of our time talking about the university setting up some kind of system to support online learning. And I believe they have done it, because this time around when I came, I think their internet is very, very strong. Generally, the key infrastructure you need for this MOOC is, you know, for the student to be able to access the content of the courses, you know, wherever they are. That is the whole idea of the MOOC, you know, and of course, to get many students to join at any time, different places. So I think the infrastructure to some extent is okay, but we also know that in Africa, it is expensive to get a bandwidth. You know, the bandwidth is not that strong, and you have interruption of the service and all that stuff. So I'm going to leave the infrastructure part to Professor maybe to explain. But generally, I think the students are extremely excited about this. I have a good number of students who are actively working on this right now.
Okay, so Prof, you in your submission you spoke about Udemy. You having a course on Udemy, and we have others like Coursera that is all around. So comparing what you are developing for ATU and even beyond, comparing the two, what would you say makes what you and the team are developing for ATU unique?
Oh, the uniqueness is the material that we put there. Remember, most of the Moocs are have generic content, and also the example that you may find may be examples in the United States or in the UK. The whole idea of our MOOC is to make sure that we get African professors to really teach with African examples. Right now, we are not there yet because, we are in the, we are putting courses here and there. Initially, I want the student to get whatever I think they can get their hands on to support them. So we are moving around different YouTube, different areas, book stuff and that to give the student additional resources. Remember, the whole purpose of creating this MOOC is to support the resource challenge on the continent. And so ultimately, the whole plan is to get an African professor who has been teaching outside the continent or even inside the continent to teach a course that will be very African-centric. In a sense, if the course is going to be taken by a student in Africa, I want the example to become from Ghana, maybe from South Africa, so they will be able to relate to it very well. We all went to school. I went to school and I did geography and I knew Mississippi and Missouri River here in the US, and I had no idea even the start and the end of the Little River in my hometown. So we want to make sure it becomes, to some extent, African-centric.
Okay, so thank you very much, Prof. So I think I would have loved for us to talk about sustainability, but I think once we follow up with the Vice Chancellor for Accra Technical University, we will talk about more into sustainability. But so far, what are the challenges that you anticipate and what are the measures that you've put in place to solve those challenges?
Well, I think the challenges generally, I think the clock or the wheels of Africa solving problem grind very, very slow. I think that is always a challenge. And so, and also, of course, the resource challenges that we have at home. The Carnegie Foundation is a very interesting, project. What they do is they fund a scholar like myself in the United States or Canada to come to a university in Africa. And I think right now there are about 6 universities that they work with. And they buy the ticket of the scholar and give you a stipend for, either 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. And that's it. So they expect the other institution to support you. I have been fortunate. I think Professor Mbevi has been extremely kind and nice. So he has given me all the support I need. But generally, I think getting the support of other people, like the lecturers and the rest, at times becomes an issue because the trick is, and I know Ghana, they don't see what they are getting out of that, because when you want people to come in and sit down at times, it's like, well, what am I getting from this? So the apathy is there. This time around, I was very fortunate. I think I got all the colleges on campus to come and listen to some of the things that we did. So that is one of the biggest challenges with the program, that the recipients are not interested in that much. And also, I think the biggest challenge is this, and this is from my own personal observation. I think such programs should be organized by the African universities, not by Carnegie Foundation, to buy a ticket for me to come to Ghana and support my own country. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And that is what we depend on all the time with this gift mentality. So I think the biggest challenge is finding a way for the program to work effectively. And I think the African universities should take ownership of this.
Okay, so thank you, Prof. I think that's really something that we should look at, because if we look at it, this is a good initiative that is being implemented, especially in engineering. But I think we could expand this. Instead of having a Moocs on engineering education, if we decide to come together as a continental thing, where we have not only engineering education, but then other courses that runs in the university. That would be the way to go. And this is where I think I agree with you that the Association of African Universities would need to step up and then engage African academics to join in doing this, to avoid the situation where we'll be working in silos in this field. Already, we've been working in silos in a lot of fields, and that has not helped. So we hope the leadership of Association of African Universities will take this up and then move on from there. Thank you very much, Prof, for shining some light on this. So before we leave, I would want you to wrap up on this. What are your expectations for the project, and then your final words?
Okay, quick one before. I'm happy you brought in the AAU, and I know this AAU TV. You know, last year, I believe it was last year, around October, November, December, a colleague and myself ran a program with AAU across the African continent. I was sitting exactly where I'm sitting here in my house in Atlanta, and my colleague was in Chicago. And we have several lecturers and students, across the entire continent. We have, I believe, most of the program, we have about 200 participants. These are lecturers and students. And we ran this for maybe 3 months. It was very successful. That is what I really want to do. Outside having the physical MOOC that, students can go in there and have it, asynchronous all the time. I also want to be able to run such workshops so that I can bring in this professor in Oklahoma who teaches this professor in Alabama who is in this cybersecurity, and have workshops going on across the entire continent all the time. That is the only way we can build our nation, except that nowadays it is difficult to travel. So if you cannot travel, then where do you get the resources? Where do you get the intelligence to run your system? So I would like AAU to really put this forward. I've been, talking to AAU, trying to expand this. So far, the talks is still ongoing. So, but as far as the ATU program is concerned, we are still working on it. Hopefully, at some point in time, you'll be able to really make a significant impact and get the students. The students are very serious, and that is the whole idea. I want us to start with ATU. Once we get some significant movement, then we're going to move it to the next level. As we speak right now, Professor, maybe myself and another colleague in KN University are putting a paper together that I'll be presenting in Washington, D.C. Next month on this little project that we did. So, things seems to be going fine. We just have to find a way to improve on the speed a bit.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. Bafo, for speaking with us on this. And viewers out there, if you did not start with us, today we were talking about integrating Moocs in engineering education, and the project that Professor Bafo has been working on for some time now, and the fact that we need to scale this up, and continental bodies such as Association of African Universities stepping up to support in this course. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us today. I think the discussions will continue. They say a good discussion is the one that never ends. So I know definitely this will never end, and we'll continue to have discussions on this. Thanks for being with us today.
All right, thanks for having me. Bye.
All right. Okay. So viewers, this is Diaspora Connect, and I was your host, Schneider Kweku Ankuma.